Hello, kings and queens. Today is Monday, September 27th. It's about 9:19, and I just want to get on here and just give some words of encouragement to somebody that's just feel like giving up, feel like throwing in the towel. Y'all, even though things may not be going the way that you want them to go, just know that it's all working out for your good. Um, Everything that happens in our life is coming together. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. You might not understand it now, but later you'll be like, now I see why that relationship didn't work. Now I see why I tried to get that house, and the house I wanted wasn't the house that I actually got. But then I waited on God, and He blessed me with something even better, y'all. And I'm preaching to myself too, so I'm not talking just to y'all. But y'all, when I tell y'all that waiting on God is so important, it's so vital, that because when we make decisions for ourselves, we can put ourselves in a whole lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. Some things that go on in our life, we cause it on ourselves. Like, for example, dating. So it's this guy that you hooked up with, y'all exchanged numbers or etc. And God told you that. He sent you signs, He sent you red flags, but you just knew that this guy is the one for you. And you just completely ignored your discernment, completely ignored the red flags, completely ignored everything that God was trying to tell you about this guy. But you just so adamant. And then later on down the road, you experience heartache and heartbreak and whatever it is that's dealing with being hurt. And now you got to heal from that and recover from that. But even that heartache and that heartbreak that you put yourself in, even that was meant to work out for your good. Even that. It's just, I tell you what, a lot of times we just thank God for the open doors. But we forgetting about the closed doors, because you don't know what God is protecting you from. That guy ain't want to date you. Okay. God's rejection is for your protection. So He's redirecting you, baby girl. He's redirecting you, baby boy. Like, y'all, that's a closed door. Then later on down the line, when you meet your king, your kingdom man, your godly man, then you're gonna understand why you had to wait, and it was gonna be worth the wait, y'all. I just want to get on here and say, wait on God. Like, I can be on here all night and talking to y'all about waiting on God. I can give you my personal testimony as far as when I went through my process of buying a house. At first, I started out with this program. It's called NACA. I was about 5 months pregnant. I had to go to this workshop. The workshop was about a few hours, so I don't remember how long, but sitting there, my rump hurting, and it was just, So I remember as a child, I always would write. I remember wanting a brand new house. A brand new house. It ain't have to be a $200,000 house, y'all. But I always want a brand new house. 3-bedroom, 2-car garage, 2-bedroom home. And like I just said, it don't have to be a $200,000 house. I just wanted a new house. So I'm going through this program, and I got to it was different steps to it. First you had to submit your application, then you had to do the workshop, or or vice versa, or something like that. I don't know which step was before the other. But then they set you up with the with the what them people call agent, and then they will help you. They will run your credit, see if you had anything on your credit. You work on your credit, and you have to save X amount of money. I'm gonna get to that later. So you work on your credit, and then they will send in an application to get you approved and see how much you got approved for based on, I guess, like your income or etc. So I got approved for like $90,000 house. I knew that I wanted to live in North Augusta. North Augusta is in South Carolina, for those of you who don't know, or West Augusta, and that's in Georgia, in Augusta, Georgia. I knew I wanted to be in one or two of those areas, and so I went through this process. I'm at the end of the process, and then so at this time I was working in Hephzibah, and so I'm looking for houses, and I'm looking for houses in North Augusta. I'm looking for houses in West Augusta, and I tell y'all, like, it was no houses for that amount, a decent house for that amount of at that price. And I'm just looking, I'm like, where am I supposed to live? So I started looking at Hephzibah. Hephzibah is also in Georgia. So I started looking at Hephzibah. Hephzibah had some nice houses that were within my price range. But I just knew that that's not where God wanted me to be. So I remember one night, it was this house that my realtor sent me. Mind you, I had a NACA realtor because I was going through that program. So you had to have a NACA based realtor or somebody that was NACA certified. So I'm at work, and I spoke with my stepfather, God rest his soul. He told me that when you looking for a house, make sure you go and look at different times of the day. So make sure you go in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon, morning, noon, night, basically. And the first time I went to look at this one particular house, y'all, it was at like 9 o'clock at night. I had just got off from working 15, 16 hours. And I said, well, you know what? Let me go. My realtor sent me an address, and I said, I'm going to go and check it out. Before I even could make that left turn to turn to the neighborhood, my spirit was I just knew that it was something that just was not right about this neighborhood. But I went anyway. So I went in and checked it out. I didn't see anything, going on. So, of course, I couldn't look inside the house. So I stayed in the car, and I just kind of took a peep on the outside of the house. So, at this point, my emotions and my feelings and everything's getting at me because, you get excited, you anxious. And so I set up an appointment to go and look at the house I took my grandma and my sister with me. So we went and look at this house. Walk through the house. And, based off of my anxiousness, I'm getting excited. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I want a house, etc. But my spirit wasn't there. Like, my spirit, it just didn't sit right still with that. But I was getting ready to make decisions off my emotions. And as I say, you always pray about everything. So the first time for me was when I walked out the house. I told my realtor, I said, yes, I want it. And she said, no, I'm going to let you go home. And you going to, let you go home. You pray about it. And then you can call me tomorrow and let me know. And I said, okay. So, mind you, it's a church across the street. Keep that in mind. So then I get in the car, and I asked my sister, my grandma, I said, how do y'all feel about the house? My sister didn't really say anything. My grandma was like, I don't like the fact they got bars on the window. So me and um, where I grew up at back in the day, we didn't see no houses with bars. So I really didn't know what that meant. So I was like, Grandma, what? Which I kind of had a feeling what it was because of the feeling I had, the first day I went to look at the house that night. And so she said, well, the bars keep people from breaking and entering into your house. So that was the second sign. So I said, okay. So that night I prayed to God about the house. And then the very next day, I called my realtor, like, making moves off being anxious. So I called, said, hey, I prayed, I want a house and etc. And so then, okay, well, she said, okay, well, Saturday, I'll type up a contract for you to make an offer. Saturday, you can come sign a contract, and then I'll submit the paperwork. So that Saturday morning, when I was on my first break at work, I went by the house, I prayed and I meditated, and I asked God, I said, God, if this is the house that's in your will for my daughter and myself, I said, place us here. If not, block it. So then I went back to work. My lunch break, I went to meet up with her. I signed all the paperwork, went back to work. Got a phone call about 4. My baby godmama, she called me. She say, sis, I know you signed that paperwork, but my cousin just called me. She just moved from out of the neighborhood. That is not a good neighborhood. Mind you, this goes back to when I said the very, very first time when I got the address, I was going to ride by there and check things out before I could turn into the neighborhood. That's just, I had that feeling of like, sis, this ain't it. So she called me and I said, you just answered my prayers. Like, you was my angel. So I said, I'm going to call you back. I hung up the phone with her, called my realtor back, and I said, I don't want it. She said, well, why? It's a church across the street. I said, people shooting up churches these days, they don't care nothing about no church. So, cancel that. The very next day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on my way to church. Mind you, where I live now is my neck of the woods. I grew up around this area. I'm on my way to church. I passed by this area. Now, I go to church every Sunday. Why I never seen it, I don't know, but I guess it wasn't meant for me to see at the time. Passed by this area, by this land. It was land cleared off. Only thing they had was like a horseshoe or pavement where the road was going to be. My spirit was just going. Like, I knew for a fact that this is where I was going to be. So they had a sign up. They had like a realtor, people you can contact, to get your process started. So I took a picture of that. I went to church. After church, I made the phone call, and they set me up with a realtor. And so at this point, I banked with Wells Fargo, and I called them. Trying to get everything together. I got approved, but they was trying to give me the runaround. And I was like, okay, this, I felt a sense of worry come along, the spirit of worry, stress. I was stressing about it. Like, I went to sleep with a migraine and woke up with a migraine. I got up one morning and I said, see, this is what we're not finna do. We're not finna be stressing about this situation. God is gonna take care of it. So I'm meeting with my realtor. We're going looking at the model homes that they already had built in another subdivision. And so, I'm discussing with her what's going on. So she said, I have a lender that I can pair you up with, and you see, she gets you approved. So I'm gonna tell you how God set things up in decency and order. So she set me up with a realtor, and not the realtor, the lender. I'm sorry. She set me up. The lender instantly approved. got approved. And I'm going to tell you what my coworker, a good friend of mine, the best advice I have ever received in my whole entire life. He said, because I kept going back and forth with different people, about trying to get not approved because I was already approved, but I guess what I'm looking for. I guess maybe like a lower interest rate, which my interest rate is already low. I can't remember why I kept. It's this other guy that I was dealing with too, as far as when I was getting my house. And so he said, sis, God you got approved. That's your green light. God is not going to bless you and leave you. So God gave you the green light, go. That means that it's going to happen for you. So ever since he told me that, y'all, that was the best advice I ever received in my life. I have applied that to every area in my life. So he gave me that advice, and I said, okay. I instantly, like I said, that morning before I went to work, I had stopped all that stress and the worry and stuff like that. I'm not even a person that stress and worry, but we are human. Went to work, he told me that. So anyway, Linda got me approved, and then I put down my, I came to pick out my lot and put down my earnest money, and that's when they got the ball rolling. So, I'm trying to make this story short as possible. In the midst of that, my storage got broken into. All my brand new storage, all my brand new furniture that I had just bought got stolen. And the thing about it is I dreamed it. Like, I had a dream that I went to check on my storage like I normally do. The door was down, the lock was missing. And that's exactly what happened. The door's down, the lock missing. Pulled the door up. I already knew that my furniture was gone. And so I just thank God that I have a relationship with him, because at that moment I broke down, because I have worked extremely hard to get my furniture for somebody to take it, to steal it from me. But I don't worship materialistic things. So with that being said, I cried and etc. and I got it out my system. But I was there for about maybe an hour and a half, because then the police came, so my family came, and I had to, write up a statement or whatever. But by the time I was leaving there, that spirit had lifted up off of me, because I said that I don't worship materialistic things. God, I know you're good. You're going to take care of me and my baby. Like, I was just crying out to him and worshiping him. And like I said, by the time I left, I felt so much better. I slept well that night. I didn't worry about it. I just let it go. And so fast forward about 3 months later, I closed on my brand new house, a house that I always wanted. So moral of the story, y'all, is if I would have settled, if I wouldn't have used my discernment and listened to what God was telling me, I would have settled for the house in Hephzibah. I'd probably been miserable there. Probably been and sold my home by now. But I listened to God's small, still voice, and I waited. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that I didn't get frustrated during the wait, that I didn't grow weary during the wait, but I still waited. Anytime I felt like I was growing weary or getting frustrated, I would pray, and I would remind myself that I know that God has promised me a house. And at that point, I didn't know I was getting a brand new house. But that just goes to show you that when doors close, and I had multiple doors closed on me, because there was multiple houses that I looked at, and there would be houses that I would be like, oh, this is a nice house, but it would be on a contract, and I would be like, well, but now that I'm growing in Christ, I understand why those doors close, because God has an even bigger door for you to step into, y'all. If I wouldn't have listened to my spirit, I would be in Helpsville right now, in a house that I probably would be outside shooting. I prayed to God, and I told God, I said, God, I want to be a neighborhood where I feel safe and secure. I won't have to go outside and going back to my Nucky If You Buck days, stepping outside, shooting people, shooting up cars and stuff like that, because they having a, y'all get what I'm saying. But generally speaking, but I want to be in a nice, safe and secure neighborhood, in a neighborhood where it has good schools and just a safe area. And God knew the desires of my heart. And I waited. And I trusted God. And I kept my faith. And now, right now, as I'm recording this video, I am sitting at my table in my brand new home that I've been in for now 2 years. And this is just a reminder to y'all and to me that God is faithful and that he keeps his promises. Right now, I have some things that I know that God promised to me, and I know they're coming. So I'm just going to patiently wait and keep my faith and allow God to do his work. So like I said, my point of recording this video today is to give y'all my personal testimony, as to how I got to where I'm at today, and to just give y'all the words of encouragement to keep the faith and allow those doors to close, because God has another bigger, greater blessing door that's about to open, y'all. Like, he just blows my mind. I wasn't expecting to get no brand new house. I really wouldn't. I was not expecting to get a brand new house. I just wanted a house where I could raise my daughter in a nice neighborhood and she go to a nice school. And this is God's promise. My house is God's promise. Totally forgetting that as a kid, that's what I always wanted. Totally forgetting about that. But God did. God didn't forget about that. He blessed me with the desires of my heart. I really and truly believe that if you trust, believe, and have faith in God and present to him your requests, if it's in his will, he's going to make it happen. Not your will, God's will. I don't know about y'all, but for me, I want God's will for my life, because God's will for our life far greater than our will. Because you gonna end up with that man that's gonna be cheating on you and treating you all types of wrong. Because you're being impatient, because you want to be loved, you don't want to be alone. Sis, heal first, and allow God to do that work in you, and then allow him to find you. Allow God to send him to you, and you will not regret it. And guess what? I'm in my waiting season too. So I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me too. So get in your purpose. Find your purpose. Find what it is, the reason why you are walking on this earth. We all have a purpose. God has a purpose for all of our lives. So find your purpose. Get in alignment with God. Put him first, and everything else gonna flow. So I just want to get on here and tell y'all my testimony, and to give y'all words of encouragement to keep on pressing forward, to Keep trusting and believing in God. Keep your faith. Activate your faith. All you need is just that small faith the size of a mustard seed. So that's all I have for y'all today. I just wanted to get on here to record that. I'm about to just thank God for everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Because I know that it's going to all work together for my good. I love you all, and I'll chat later.